r/AskReddit, hotel and motel workers of Reddit. What's the weirdest thing you've come across in the rooms? Not a worker but used to travel for work. Once we were checking into our rooms and me and a co-worker were going to her room. She opened the door and there was 2 people living in the room. They were prostitutes who were friends with the housekeeper. They were given keys to use empty rooms. Been working hotels for almost 20 years. A dead person, suicide. A safe full of dildos. A briefcase that had "if lost, please mail to the FBI." A half-melted ice sculpture for doing shots of a double penis. A couple of guns. A person's dog that they left behind. What was in the briefcase? Friend's wife runs a mid-priced hotel. She tells stories about what her people have found, everything from dead bodies in the bed frame, yup, someone murdered their spouse, wrapped them in plastic, to drugs, adult toys, so many toys, to stolen cars in the parking lot. Anything you can imagine she has found. Oh, just remembered, cams in room. They have to scan every room now to validate that there are nothing communicating in the room now because of how many they have found. And GT, wrap them in plastic. Was there a fish in the percolator? My father managed a hotel when I was younger. He came home one day distraught after finding a room with shit everywhere. The guest had shit in all of the pillowcases and smeared it all over the bathroom as well. I remember him saying it looked like a pig had lived in the room for a week. Edit spelling. Do they ever go after the guest for stuff like this? Is guest even the right word? I worked in a cheap hostel in Lisbon about 10 years ago. We had this very odd guest who'd speak in a super low voice and walk really slowly. He'd also leave random bits of TP around the hostel. Once the cleaning lady found him in his room completely rolled in toilet paper. Clearly an alien disguised as a human. A large sack full of pine cones. We do not have any pine trees nearby, so they had to have brought them with. It confuses and haunts me to this day. A bathtub full of turnips. Some people/businesses make jewelry out of pine cones sliced up. That could have been it. Just plain pine cones, not the scented ones. Bizarre. A giant pocket knife like one of the Swiss Army ones, but it was the size of my arm under a bed. Okay, that's kinda awesome. Had a lady check in early and AMP, ask for a late checkout. She still hadn't checked out by 2 p.m. and AMP wouldn't come out of the room. When we were about to have her escorted out, she finally left. In the room was hundreds of little whiteout bottles everywhere. She had painted every reflective surface with whiteout, including all the plumbing under the sink, all the fixtures, every screw, and AMP had started painting the mirrors. Was it Bette Nesmith Graham? Not a worker, stayed at Borgata in Atlantic City. Laid down on the bed and stretched my arms up. Reached up and felt something behind the picture over the bed. Someone stuck a well-used crack pipe behind the picture and the wall. I had to switch rooms 2 times at the Borgata. First time room had black mold in the shower, and second time the bed was short-sheeted. LOL, it was wild. Haven't been back since, but possibly going to AC this summer, so we will see if it's better now. A live fish in a bathtub. Same year, different hotel, fresh bear meat. 'Twas a hunting season. For me it would be about 16 gallons of urine stashed underneath a bed we found while cleaning. It was stored in tons of plastic water bottles varying of different brands like Polish Springs or Dasani. Once I also found 16 severed fingers in a trash can in a guy's room. Okay, out of all these responses in this post, most are pretty predictable. This one is truly odd. 16 is your number. Guess nobody, or everybody, was pointing fingers, huh? Also WTF. You only have 10 fingers of your own. A bunch of used condoms stuck to the ceiling. Phylactites in the wild. I'm impressed. I saw this on the short-lived Smoking Gun series on Adult Swim. Hotel maids went to cleaning out a room only to find that everything in the room had been coated in Vaseline. Had left behind a bag filled with dozens of empty jars. They charged the damages to his credit card, apparently had done the same thing to other hotels around town. The Vaseline bandit strikes again. I was told that story by someone who lived in Binghamton, New York. I'm beginning to wonder if it was an urban legend. An absolutely giant thing of cherry-flavored lube. Like I'm talking a fucking massive cooking bowl-sized tub of it with a label and all. My friend says someone shit in the bathroom trash can, all over the shower floor, and all over the toilet seat as well as bed sheets. Blood-stained sheets and towels. Lot of sex toys. Someone a 4-hour drive away must have been like, phew yuck. The Turniapes. A guy wanking it to gay porn as he told me to enter. Thanks for coming. My co-worker eating a cold can of corn with a comically large pink spoon. Also didn't see a can opener with her, so either she was carrying around an open can of corn, or she found it open in the room. As a guest, checked into a room in CA. I turn on the wall-mounted AC unit and a dirty needle falls out the bottom. Then we order a cot for our kid. We roll it in the room, open it up, and multiple cockroaches fall out and scurry away. We got our money back and adios immediately. My aunt was a cleaning lady for a nicer hotel for most of her life. She once found $75K in a bag under a pillow. She turned it in. Wow, I don't think I could have turned it in. Did anyone ever claim it? My wife and I planned a trip to Copenhagen and I had plenty of extra space in my suitcase, so I asked on their subreddit if anyone wanted anything from America. I got a decent number of requests and met up with some people to get them their stuff. The others never responded when we got to town, so we just left the stuff in the hotel room. I always wondered what their staff thought coming in and seeing a bunch of American snacks unopened on the desk, but reading these comments it probably didn't seem too crazy. Former management at a major hotel in Philly. I was called into a room that was destroyed according to housekeeping. I wasn't expecting what I saw. Hundreds of packages of Sudafed, doors off closets, the honor bar absolutely ripped apart, doors of the hinges, broken wood cabinets, TV was shattered. We did not call the authorities because the band's management asked for discretion and paid a very large, undisclosed, to me at least, sum of money. The room was offline the rest of my tenure there, which was admittedly quite short. Glad I am no longer in that industry. Used condoms in the kettle you use to make your coffee. With disturbing frequency, at multiple chains, in different countries. Former Motel 6 employee outside of NOLA. Dead bodies always bothered me the most. Almost always recently dead, not the hidden body trope you always hear about. As far as weirdest I'd say the room covered in smeared butter and syrup. Literal piles of empty syrup bottles in the bathroom. Gotta make them bells somehow. Once checked into this little shitty motel in Bruton, Alabama. When I turned my blankets down, the pillow rolled over and under it was an of that high-speed chicken feed. High-end hotel. Most can only afford a Mint. I worked as a housekeeper for 4 years, and one thing that sticks out is a copy of 50 Shades of Grey and a dildo in the trash can. A loaded .45 on the bedside table after checkout. I worked at a resort in northern Minnesota. The guy just left it there after checking out. We had to call him and he had to drive back to pick it up. When asked, he said he was worried about the bears. He was staying in our main lodge building on the second floor, which was essentially a hotel. Bring a black light into a room, the things you see and don't want to see are something else. Look up the YouTube series Another Dirty Room, they'd often break out the black light and luminol in many of their episodes. My personal favorite, I was working front desk at a Howard Johnson's Express Inn, was when one of the housekeepers brought in a mini jar of Mr. Happy's Fun Time petroleum jelly, almost pristine, save for the 2-finger scoop dug out. My worst was an older woman, who was very sweet, but didn't have all her faculties. She told me there was a smell in her room. I was able to find its location very quickly as it was so strong. She had put an entire steak and baked potato dinner she ordered from the restaurant several days ago, looked barely touched too. I managed to grab the plate safely and dispose of it, and even more importantly I didn't gag in front of her. But the smell of rotting meat and potatoes is seared in my brain. Not an employee but knew a guy who had a drawer in the bottom of the dresser feel stuck, so he pulled it out and found sheets soaked in dried blood shoved under the bottom dresser drawer. My charger in the wall, and my work pants in bottom drawer of dresser that I left 9 months before. They were still there, LMAO. And the skeleton hay for all rooms was on my bed. We had beers in every empty room. It was Tom Look, wasn't it? We need to get to the root of this. Dried shit in the bed, twice and almost 1,000 miles apart. A stack of porn mags. Back in the 70s, you had to go out in the woods to find those things. Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel. According to my statistics, 100% of my viewers in the past 28 days are not subscribed. I have always wanted this channel to reach 1,000 subscribers, and if you want to support and be a part of that, subscribe. It's free and it's an awesome way to support the channel. Thanks again, Reddit glitch out.